How to turn $10,000 into 100 grand through tax deed investing in 5 steps. That is what we're going to dive into here today. So if you are interested in a new way of real estate investing, maybe you're sick and tired of the traditional way of investing or looking for a new way to get into real estate or get into business, this could definitely help you make some money in real estate, maybe create some residual income, or maybe buy some rental property. As the world and the economy gets harder and harder, alternate ways to get into real estate investing are going to be paramount to help you achieve your goals. It used to be the average person could work harder, work overtime to achieve the American dream, but sadly, that era seems to be over. I think just the price of strawberries and eggs are like $8 to $10 these days. It's absolutely insane. So I want to show you guys a simple way of turning 10 grand into 100,000 bucks through tax deed investing. And then from there, you can go on and parlay that perhaps into more millions of dollars in your portfolio. Tax deed investing is a excellent way to make money in real estate if you know what to do. Also, it is an amazing arbitrage in real estate because not a lot of people are doing it and not a lot of people understand it. So let's just get right into it. So here in the US, half of the states are tax deed states, which means, in short, if the government doesn't get their property taxes for, say, 3 to 5 years, they're going to send a message to the homeowner and they're going to say, hey, pay us the property taxes. If you don't, we're going to foreclose on the property, basically, or sell your property at an auction. And the opening bid is going to be the back taxes owed. And the true beauty of tax deed investing is the fact that it wipes out the mortgage. So tax deeds are always the priority lien. If we think that we own our property, try not paying your taxes and the government shall sell it and wipe out any mortgage that is on it. So starting with tax deeds is the best way to go. And the cool thing about this is we're going to go through a bit of a 5-step plan on how to do this. And as we get into it, if you guys have any questions, please feel free to put them in the comments. We are live, so go ahead, tell me your name, where you're tuning in from. That would be great. So far we have Daniel tuning in, North Carolina. Welcome. Tony, welcome to the show here today. And if you're watching this on replay, feel free to put some questions in the comments as well. And it always helps to know where you're tuning in from as we're going through this so that I can help kind of customize the content and the training here as we go. So we got Las Vegas here in the house as well. So turning 10K into 100K, right? First thing, you're probably going to need 10K. But the beauty of tax deed investing is you can start with just a couple $100, which is awesome, to flip your way into more larger properties. So a lot of this stuff can be scaled depending on the starting point. And we're getting lots of folks hopping on here. Jay coming in from Cali, welcome. John and Tino, welcome here. Hollister, CA, awesome. Used to live in Santa Barbara. We got Michael Jordan here, awesome. Michael in Chicago. Very honored to have the Michael Jordan here in the house. George, welcome. Indiana. Good stuff. Lots of people tuning on. Welcome, Ron, coming in from San Antonio. We got Texas is a great spot. Kansas. So if you're just joining, let us know where you're tuning in from, because these days live streams are more valuable than ever because they're not AI. So coming back to it, you guys want to pick a tax deed state. Very, very important to pick a tax deed state. You could literally just Google or use a ChatGPT and say, which is the tax deed state. We also have the directory below if you want it. It's totally free. It has all the tax deed states in it. So some good places: Florida, Georgia, Arkansas, Michigan. These guys are going to have some great sales coming up here very soon. We just did a live stream as far as going over some amazing Michigan properties that are coming up. Some of these things are opening bids, $500-600, which is awesome. You can buy them, you can flip them. The key thing is doing the research, which is what we show you guys how to do here on the channel. Welcome, everybody. Awesome turnout so far coming in. Steve, welcome. Edward, welcome from New Jersey. Appreciate everybody hopping on. Jay, which state? So I'm going to go over just a few states, more so on the execution plan of turning 10K into 100K through tax deed investing in the fastest time possible. So obviously Texas and Georgia are great because they do auctions every single month. which is awesome. First Tuesday of every month is going to be in Texas and Georgia. From there, we have Michigan, like I mentioned, coming up with some sales. Florida does monthly sales as well, and so does Pennsylvania in Philadelphia. Okay. And the cool thing about Philly is the fact that you can put down 10% and you can actually assign the winning bid. So you can pretty much do like wholesaling with tax deeds. It's really the only state that allows you to do that, to basically assign your bid. So say you get something for 10 grand, you put down $1,000, maybe it's worth $50,000. From there, you can assign that for say $20,000. So that's actually a simple step to be able to get in the game. So for example, in Pennsylvania, in Philly, they have the auction. Let's say you find a property worth 50 grand and you get the bid for $10,000. Very fair. So that means you put down $1,000 and you have 30 days to make the payment on that property. But what you can do in the meantime is go find a buyer or an investor and you can assign it to them for say $20,000 and you just made yourself, 20 grand or $19,000 on the deal without really having much skin in the game. So then you would take that 20 grand and then obviously go back and repeat it, maybe buy a couple more houses the next time. So this is a business of you start this business based on where you are in your financial journey right now. So step 2, depending on where you are, is if you want to start small, depending on your budget, you can start small. You can start with a couple $100. That's going to take some elbow grease to get into the game. But that's what's really fun about tax deed investing. And if you have decent credit, that helps a lot too, because you can get, 0% financing. For example, in Michigan, they take credit card, which is awesome. So in Michigan, you can get a 0% credit card, buy this property, and then flip it. So that is definitely a great way to start. So one of the things you can do is start with land. Land is a great way to basically flip yourself into this. You could buy a cheap piece of land for maybe a couple $1,000. And the cool thing is these days you can do this stuff remotely. For example, we got our coach Cam. Maybe you guys have seen him before. He's at the Arkansas sales here this week. And we've had some really good luck in Arkansas in the past. One of our favorite deals was in Arkansas, where we bought a funeral home and a limousine business. And it was like $6,300. It was worth $75,000. There was a renter in it already paying us $1,000 per month in rent. We rented it to them for 2 years at $1,000 a month. And then we sold it to them for $70,000. So that's like fun deals like that are only possible through tax deed investing. If you target land, the cool thing is you don't really need to be super specific on, as opposed to a house, right? If you're buying a house, there are some key things. If you can see it in person, then that's obviously the ultimate, or have a friend or a family go look at it. But the great thing about where we are today in the world is the fact that this stuff can be done virtually. It used to be the golden rule of tax deeds is only go by what you can see. But now you can use a service like Airtasker or We Go Look and send somebody to actually go and look at the property for you. So rural areas, always a bit of a tongue twister, are going to be great spots for the cheaper properties because there will be less competition. And you can go and actually just sort or Google or use ChatGPT to sort the counties by population and then start with the smallest population counties. Because, man, sometimes that's where there's going to be some amazing gems for deals. And the reason is because some of these counties are kind of like going back in a time machine, like hopping in the DeLorean, going back in time, because their systems are so old and outdated. For example, Coach Cam, maybe some of you guys have seen him. We'll have him on the live stream, but he's in Arkansas right now. And you can only do in some of these small counties like in-person research, which means you have to go into the county and do the research on the title and the records yourself. So that's a huge arbitrage because not a lot of people will probably be doing that. So in this game, remember, there are 3,300 counties. 1,500 of those counties are tax lien. 1,500 of those are going to be tax deeds. 3,300, give or take, whatever. 1,600. I failed math, so that's why I might not have the exact number, but it always is in the directory. And for anybody who's tuning in, if you've never tuned in before, it's Dustin Hahn here. And we pride ourselves on being the #1 channel on tax liens and deeds. We have, I think, 95,000 subscribers. If you're watching this, you like it, do the favor, hit the thumbs up so you can see this in the feed. But we have almost 3,600 videos on tax liens and deeds. We are the #1 provider based on what I've seen. And we try to give you guys as much free information to get started as possible. So that's why below this video is a link to the ABCs of tax lien and deed investing. If you haven't got it yet, you can go ahead, get it for free. It has all the questionnaires, the forms, how to figure out rehabs, and then all of the tax deed states as well below is in there. So if you want to Google them. And then from there, if you ever want to come join us at a live auction or you want some one-on-one help, you can book a free call and we can see if it's a help. So rather than sell a bunch of stuff, what we do is we give it all away. And then whoever wants some hand-holding help, you can come and book a free call and see. That's our motive, So anybody here that might say, oh, this guy's just selling courses. We give away our best stuff. We give away everything. If you want one-on-one help, that's what we do. And it really helps save people time. And it is another business for us to be transparent. So welcome, Ron. Welcome anybody who is just joining us here tonight. Let me know where you're tuning in from. We got lots of Texas, Steve in Kansas. I think we saw that. Ed in New Jersey. Let me know where you're tuning in from. It helps us know where to go with the content. If we see lots of people coming in from, Chicago or different places, Minnesota actually is coming in here. So it helps us tailor the content, Coming back to getting started with cheap little properties, the way I got started was back in the day. I was calling all these little counties and we found a whole bunch in Minnesota. So what we would do is we'd find these little counties, and 20 years ago, you always had to go in person. So we'd get like a super cheap flight and then we would rent a car, go drive around to all the properties, the over-the-counter properties, and then we'd buy them and then sell them for thousands of dollars. So that is a great method as well. But the cool thing here for everybody is the fact that, you guys can do this stuff online from the comfort of home. So here in a second, I'll show you guys some maps that you can go to and we can really dive into this. So Minnesota will definitely have some smaller places. We have Arkansas. So when you get these properties, remember, back to the premise here of turning $100,000 or $10,000 into $100,000 is you want to have the velocity of money working very, very quickly for you. So what that means is you're going to buy the property when you get the property, you want to be able to flip it as quickly as possible. So there's a saying from back in the day, and I believe it was probably Ted Thomas, where he'd say you want the fast bucks, not the last bucks. And that has served us well because remember, if you get greedy on a property, let's say you buy something in Pennsylvania, it's worth 50 grand, you bought it for 5, you try to fix it up, you can really get caught in the weeds. If I have something that I got for 5 grand, it's worth 50, I would way rather sell it for a quick $10,000 profit than to try to put money in it, try to tune it up or any of that stuff. Only get into rehabs if you know what you're doing. If you don't know what you're doing, just sell it quickly. Maybe put a little bit of lipstick on it if it's if it needs the grass cut or it needs to be cleaned out. Stuff like that can have a big ROI. But if you get greedy on these properties, it can kick your butt because what happens is when you fix up a property, you're now competing with all of the moms and pops and grandmas and grandpas who have pristine homes. They've looked after it for years. And if you've made any mistakes, you're now competing with those guys and it's hard. So one way to get into this is to buy cheap land. For example, maybe you get 5 lots. You're starting with 10 grand. You could buy 5 lots at 2 grand a piece and then maybe sell those for $10,000. And then from there, move into houses and start flipping those quickly. There are thousands of these auctions happening. You just need to go and take action and start to find them. Many of you guys know my story as far as when I got into this. I was working in the oil field, miserable. I didn't like my life. And I went to a real estate seminar. I was plowing snow in the front end loader, listening to tapes by this guy named Robert Allen. And he talked about tax liens and deeds. I went to a seminar and signed up for a $5,000 seminar like 22 years ago. And at the seminar, I met a guy. I was like, hey, I'm going to an auction in 3 days. Come down and meet me. So we get in the car. We drive like 12 hours down to Okanagan, Washington. And I bought my very first sale, 40 acres of land for $4,200, and it was worth 40 grand. And I sold it for 20, made quick money, 15,000 bucks, and I was hooked. So one big takeaway from that is I got something at my very first auction, which was awesome. It had me hooked. Okay. And what I want everybody to keep in mind is many of you might go to your first auction and you might not get anything. That's okay. Some of you might go to your first auction and get home runs. If you look at the YouTube channel, if you look at the comments, you'll see people that have done deals at their very first auction, maybe just from watching the channel. But here is one of the biggest mistakes that I see that you can avoid. And it's super simple, and it's called persistence. Just because you go to one sale and you don't get anything, it doesn't mean this business doesn't work. What it means is you went to a popular auction, okay? And let's see. Somebody's saying here they went to the last Philly auction. Okay, check it out. So John's saying, fell so hard, the last Philly auction, thought I had a property. Highest bid was 23 grand, and then boom. Yeah, last minute bid came in at 65,000 bucks. So that's actually one of the strategies that we'll talk about and teach as well, like to intimidate the competition, right? Because if somebody does that, we'll do that sometimes, like we'll spike a bid. So we're in the game, we're bidding, maybe we have 100 grand or something. We'll do that just to kind of flex and to show that if somebody's going to bid against us, we can go high. But the thing to keep in mind is the person who jumped the bid, and this is the thing with these auctions, is I've been at auctions before where there has been 500 people and like 30 properties, and I walked away with a $5,000 house. And the reason is because an auction is always a flow. There's an ebbs and flow. There could be a property where everybody bids it up to market value, or the person who jumped the bid to 65, maybe they spent their money and they don't come back to the next auction. So with that, you have to be consistent in this game, and it will average out. You have to be consistent, and you have to pursue over-the-counter tax lien and deed properties. And the over-the-counter properties are the properties that didn't sell at the auction. They are sitting in the inventory right now that you can go and buy tomorrow. Some of you guys could go start buying some of these properties tomorrow for a couple $100 or a couple $1,000 and then be flipping them here within the next 30 days or less. You just need to take action. And once again, that's why we have the directory. All of this stuff is in a free download below this video in the description. If you ever want to go ahead and grab it, I recommend obviously doing it. And then the book will walk you through step by step as far as everything you need for estimating rehab and all that sort of stuff. And this book was really just my set of instructions that for myself going to these auctions. And then sure enough, we put it into this and now we give it away. So all of that is in the description below here. Let's see. Don't worry about buying money. It's in this. What's that? Don't worry about the buying the money. It's selling the product that I purchased. I'm not sure what you mean by that one. But anybody tuning in, welcome here tonight. We're going to ask some questions. Let's see. Here we go. Good question here. Can you elaborate on what you said about having somebody go see the asset? Yeah, absolutely. So back in the day, the golden rule of tax deed investing was you always go see it hands-on because there weren't services that could go do it for you. And a lot of the times, depending on the neighborhood of the property, if you're going to look at a house and it's worth $200,000 and it has an opening bid of whatever, $5,000 or $10,000, you want to have an up-to-date image of that property and a video of the neighborhood as well. Because one of the things that we see, people will go, they'll just look on Zillow or Google Streets and they'll see, or Google Maps, Street View, and they'll see a picture of a property But the image online is old. So what that means is that we've seen it many times where the property's burnt to the ground, um, or it's been flooded, or it's been destroyed some way or another, and somebody bids it up. So sadly, that's very, very terrible. So that's why you always want to go see it. So as far as having somebody go see the asset, you can use a company called We Go Look, or on your phone, there's a app that I use called TaskRabbit or AirTasker. And these are great apps to just get people to go and look at the properties for whatever, 20, 30 bucks. You can have somebody go out for a couple hours, take a pictures of a whole, 5, 10, 20, 30 properties for you so that you can get your intel and you can bid, because a lot of these auctions now are online and you can do it from home, which is super cool. It really opens things up. For example, at the Texas auctions, we'll have folks come and basically they'll be at the live auction, but then on their iPad and on their phone, they're attending different auctions at the same time, which is very cool because you have more hooks in the water as far as what's going to bite. So for anybody tuning in, we're talking about how to turn 10K into 100K with tax deed investing here. Appreciate everybody letting us know where they're tuning in from Tampa. Let's see here, from El Paso. Good stuff. Edward, let's see here. Oh, here we go. Good question. Edward's saying, can you call pre-foreclosure prior to the auction and then wholesale them? Yeah, so that's a great strategy. We have done plenty of what we call pre-auction deals. So depending on what's going on, back in the day, we used to door knock a lot on properties that were going up and just saying, hey, I'm looking for some property in the area, wondering if you're interested in selling. And from there, that can be a little bit scary. So obviously, use your own discretion at that. But you can also just drop them an envelope, a pretty envelope in their front door, and then have them call you as well. So definitely pre-auction deals are a good way to go. So if you're going to scoop up a property before the auction, there's pros and cons. So the pro is you don't have anybody to bid against. You can go inside the property. You could do a creative thing like wholesaling where you get it under contract for $100 and then make $10,000 to $30,000 just flipping the contract, which is also a great way to go. But part of the drawback is if there's a mortgage on it, obviously that goes into your profit margins. Whereas if that property were to go to the auction and there's a mortgage, the auction would get wiped out. So yeah, definitely. What I would recommend first off is everybody see what is in your backyard. Meaning, like, if you're in a deed state, first off, find out when the tax deed or tax lien auction is in your very own backyard. So that's super important because you can go and practice. It might not be, the best fishing spot to catch the best fish, but it's good practice. And in fact, that's some really good homework for everybody here is to go to your county office and ask for the tax deed list or ask for the tax lien list. Do some research, go as our coach Cam says, go see what your tax dollars are paying for. Go into the county office and from there, see what they have. And that will be a good experience, because a big mistake folks make in this business is not practicing. When you look at anything you've done in your life, what's the commonality? It's generally you practice before you go to the big show, right? And with this business, a lot of folks just get so upset because they go to an auction, they don't get anything, and then they're sad, and then they say, this doesn't work. It was so competitive. Everything at the auction gets bid up to market value. And it's funny because there's literally 3,300 counties in the US, 1,600 tax deed counties, and they make the mistake of off of one experience labeling the whole thing, right? I always like to say it's the equivalent of like approaching a girl in the bar and she's like, sorry, I'm married, right? And then that person's like, oh, I never talk to girls. They're all married, right? Or they all have boyfriends. So you can't look at it that way. Another problem is like we have the internet, which is great. But there's so many different things to chase, like a puppy chasing 100 balls, nobody gets anything. And the most important thing for you guys right now is to be taking action towards this stuff, because with the direction that AI is going, the folks who are going to be using AI with this stuff are going to have massive advantages because the AI can now do the property research. It can find the properties. So it really is a big jump that's happening right now. So let's see, coming in, question, what were the services? Yeah, we go look, Airtasker, TaskRabbit are great services to get somebody to go take a picture. Let's see, welcome Heather, thanks for tuning in. Let's see here. What about understanding the legal zoning? Yeah, so no, this is a good question. Obviously, you want to understand what the zoning is for the property. So if it's a house and it's residential, obviously there's that. But also be careful, if you're looking at a commercial property, seeing what the zoning is. But this could also be great for when you're looking at land. Don't buy land, obviously, in the middle of nowhere. We see this all the time. There's tons of lots in the desert that, are super cheap. You don't want to buy those. What I like about city lots is you can get them cheap for a couple $1,000. There's going to be access to power, water, sewer, all that sort of stuff. And if you want to build a property there or sell it to the neighbor, a really great strategy if you're wanting to, even get to that 10 grand, start with, property, 500, $1,000, little lots next to people's houses. And then you can sell it to them for a couple $1,000 because it adds value to their property. You could, a strategy could be, it's a $1,000 lot, sell it to the neighbor for $5,000 or $10,000. Take 2,000 down and $500 a month. There are all sorts of cool, creative ways to get into this business, to start making money. The big thing though is, you could find a property. If we want to there's so many different avenues to get to making that first 100K with $10,000. You could go to one auction. You could buy a property that's worth $80,000 for 10 grand, sell it, boom, you're almost there. From there, roll that over, go into the next one. The most important thing is the speed at which you act. So the speed from when you get information to when you act on it. One of the worst things that happens is one of my favorite quotes is like, it's like most folks are trying to read the menu and get full, like by not eating the meal. So, in my opinion, one of the worst things you can do is watch this information and do nothing with it. We really have everything to get you started on the channel. If you want, the book is for free in the description. It can walk you through all of this step by step. We have videos on it. We have the deed directory below, once again, to show you, say you want to go to Michigan, which their sales are happening right now. We have them all here, the websites, the phone number. Tomorrow morning, you can call them up and ask, hey, when is the sale? How do I register, right? We've seen tons of amazing houses in Michigan opening bid, just a couple $1,000. Some of these are worth 100 grand. Some folks might make that 100 grand off of their first $10,000 deal. And, obviously that would be great, but you think about how many people play the lottery, right? You literally have like a, one in whatever, hundreds of million chance. With this, say the odds are like 1 in 10 or even 1 in 20, right? Which means, so what? You go to 20 sales and you get something that could make you, $50,000 or $100,000. It's definitely possible. Now, you do have to do your research as far as the big thing. This does wipe out the mortgage, but you do have to research. Every county is going to be a little bit different. The big thing you want to watch out for is municipal liens, things like grass cutting and any type of maintenance the county has done, because the county will not wipe themselves out when it comes to their own liens, right? So we've seen grass cutting liens before for as much as like 50 grand. Now, the cool thing though is a lot of the times you can negotiate off the city lien. You'll ask them, they'll want them back on the tax roll. For example, I think some of the places in Arkansas or some of these over-the-counter properties, the county will sell them at a loss just to get them back on the tax roll. Like a friend of mine bought an apartment building for just $50. He fixed it up. This thing's worth hundreds of thousands of dollars. But the condition was he had to go and fix this thing up within 6 months so that it could be back as a productive part of the society and be renting out. So counties will do that. For anybody tuning in, it's Dustin Hahn here. Welcome. If you like making money with real estate or you want to get into real estate, this is what we do on the channel. We show you how to get started, and we do it through tax deed investing. Today, we've been exploring some different methods of getting into property. We want to turn 10 grand into $100,000. And That's the name of the game. And it can be done in this business if you guys stick to it. If you put in an hour a day, just uninterrupted, I really feel that most of you guys can do it. The problem is putting in that hour a day uninterrupted. And we're not talking about like an hour a day on your phone. We're talking about an hour a day in front of the computer. Take 30 minutes or an hour, day one, get the deed directory below. Call all of the counties. Say you're in Kansas. What you do is you call them. Find out if they have any of these properties that are sitting there right now. And once again, this is in the description below. It is totally, totally free. So, one day you just go to old school, pick up the phone, call them up. Hey, when's the auction? Okay, cool. It's coming up. Do you have any properties left over from the last auction? You do. Oh, cool. How do I get that list? Oh, you can email it to me? Great. Here's my email. Or they'll say, oh, it's on the website. The website's also here. So that's in the description. From there, you do your research as far as what the property's worth, and that is in the book as well. You just go through the questionnaire as far as, okay, what's the market value of properties in the surrounding area? What's the square foot? What's the lot? We want to check the title. We want to see what's going on. Are there grass cutting liens? Think of this business and this game like the game of Monopoly. Okay, that's one of the analogies I use all the time, right? Most of you guys know how to play the game of Monopoly. However, the difference with this is the game is very similar everywhere you go. However, in every state, you have to get an updated set of rules for that state to learn how to play the game in that state. And then that's how you play the rules. Now, what's fun about tax lien and deed investing is the fact that in a sense, it's kind of underground, meaning you don't hear a lot about it because every county is different and no third parties are able to come in and get their paws in this, right? When you look at like, real estate as a whole, think of how many billion-dollar industries are wrapped around it. You have insurance companies, you have mortgage companies, you have title companies, you have realtors, you have many billion-dollar conglomerates that are making money off of, you transacting, whereas the county is pretty much direct to seller. They don't let third parties come in, which means there's no incentive to have a centralized hub of information on this. And that's what we try to do here on this channel, is to help educate you guys. This business really changed my life 22 years ago. It got me into real estate. And we're at a critical time right now where the folks who get into this and start to incorporate some AI as well, you're going to have an amazing run coming up. Because, the best time to get into this was 20 years ago or today. It's not going to get any easier. So for everybody here who's tuning in, I want to know, what do you guys, what state are you interested in? Daniel, tomorrow, what action are you going to take? Tony, what action? Vegas, Shooting Star, what are you going to do? Jay, Michael, George, everybody here, take one action tomorrow in the real world as far as calling a county or visiting the county is so important. Michael Jordan, take a break from basketball, go to the county office. Okay, Edward, you're in New Jersey. Now, New Jersey is a tax lien state, and it is not my favorite state, New Jersey, because they do some weird things with tax liens. So you have New York there, which is a great place to get started with tax deeds as well. So good questions. Let's see here. I'm going to look at some questions. Guys, if you like this stuff, do me a favor, hit the thumbs up. If you're not subscribed, go ahead, subscribe. That helps the channel and it helps you guys see this stuff. Let's see here. I'm just looking at some of these questions. Let's see, how much to go to a Texas auction with you. So anybody tuning in, I do two things as far as, a lot of folks are like, oh, this guru on YouTube, they're just selling courses. That's your whole thing. If it works so good, you wouldn't be on YouTube. You'd be out there doing it all the time. And it's pretty funny because I never actually intended to ever do YouTube or write a book. This started as my own personal manual when I would go to these auctions. And then one day I decided to put it into a PDF for a local real estate meetup. And then they wanted to buy it from me. That turned into a seminar. And I'm like, oh, okay. And then one day I was bored and I created a YouTube video on tax lien and deed investing, and it picked up traffic and it got thousands of views. I'm like, oh, this is kind of cool. So then from there, we used to sell this book, and it's a great second business. We go to the auctions. We're at the Arkansas auction this week. We're going to Texas. So we still do this stuff. And yeah, this is a business, man. It's one of the, like, YouTube is so interesting. I feel like it's really just luck in many ways as far as if YouTube actually decides to show you to people. Because I've seen people with amazing channels who are better than me have 1,000 videos and like 2,000 subscribers. So, why we do this channel is, yeah, it's a business. We train people how to do it. But first and foremost, we have 3,600 videos here. Our site, taxlienschool.com, man, my goal is to create the most value in this industry and give the most away humanly possible. So we have taxlienschool.com here, and we have a knowledge vault, which is the most comprehensive tax lien and deed training website and vault on the internet. We have weeks of auctions coming up. Everybody gets, you can see the week of auctions. We see in Philadelphia on the 22nd, Clay County, Florida, but we also have an interactive map that anybody can go to. So say you want to know in Utah, you just click on it and you can go learn more about Utah. We have articles on every single county for you, interactive maps, and like massive deep dives in how to do this business. So when people are asking, what's my agenda? This guru is just trying to sell courses and make money. At the end of the day, we give away as much as humanly possible. But there's some folks that want to come join us at an in-person auction, right? So we do that and we customize. We don't just do off-the-shelf training. I like to call it kind of like a bespoke, customized training. Maybe you only need a month of one-on-one training, or maybe you want 6 months. So if you guys in the description book a call, you want to come to an auction, or you want some one-on-one help, that's what we do. We figure out where you want to go, and then we help you with our expertise. And if it's a fit, we extend an invitation to join us at an auction or work with us if that's something you want. If it's not, that's not a big deal. But I'm not out here to, most people on YouTube are just Captain Virtue. It's like, I just want to change lives. It's like, yeah, we change lives, but we're also here to do business and make money. There's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with me giving away a bunch of value, and then anybody who wants to join, they can come, save some time, save probably some years of trial and error if they want. And we also end up partnering with a lot of people. So this channel lifts all ships in the water, which is why we do it. So that's my little soapbox there. Let's see. Is Michigan better state for less competition among bidders? So remember, the bigger the county, the bigger the metropolis area, the busier it's going to be. Like if you're trying to go to an auction in, Miami-Dade, it's going to be super busy, super competitive. A lot of people can cut their teeth in the smaller counties. Okay. So coming back here, lots of deed auctions in Orlando, going for 30 to 50K starting bid, starting to 10,000 bucks. What do you recommend to bid or pass? So here's what I recommend. One, if you've never been, that's a pretty sweet bike too, actually. Love bikes. If you've never been to the auction, go to the auction. Go with the intent of one day bidding or seeing what's going on. We spend so much time on sports and other things. We probably know sports players' names in different cities that we've never been to before. Treat that tax lien and deed investing that way. Go to different places or study them online. So if you're looking in Orlando, at least go to the auction, go every single month and start to get a feel for it. And then the next thing you know, you'll be in the position to start buying property at that auction. Or maybe that auction isn't for you, but you're practicing, you're seeing how these auctions go. Let's see. Yeah. We need laws to keep big corporation out of property investing. So that's what's cool about that. Welcome from Boaz. I don't know how to say your name right, but welcome. Good to see you here. Indiana has lots of good properties. George, Texas. Let's see. Kimo, Washington State, looking into local counties. Awesome. get the over-the-counter list, and there can be some good action in Washington. Washington is also a great market to get started. That's where I got my first property as well here. Let's see. Heather, let's see. Auction in Texas, first Tuesday of every month. Pre-foreclosure and tax lien. Yeah. So here's something super important when it comes to Texas. And Josh coined this. He said, just because it's a tax auction doesn't mean all of the properties are tax auction properties. Okay. And here's what we mean by that. So a lot of people lose their butt in Texas with HOA properties, homeowner association. And there's tons of homeowner associations in Texas all over the place. And if the homeowner hasn't been paying the homeowner association fees, they will get the same sheriff to auction off the property to basically recoup that money. So what happens, where people lose their butt, we see it all the time because people come to us, almost to try to help them, like save them from not doing research. And the first thing we ask is like, did you read the book? And they're usually like, no, I just went to the auction. Or did you talk to us? So when people make mistakes at the HOA, they go and they see a $200,000 house, and maybe they bid it to 50 grand. They're like, man, I got this $200,000 house. But what they didn't realize is it's the homeowner association that is trying to recoup their money. So you just bid up the HOA. Now, sure, you got the right to the property. You spent 50 grand, but you inherit the mortgage that's on that property. So the HOA doesn't wipe that out. So that is a huge mistake that people make in Texas. So just keep an eye on that. The HOAs can be profitable. So say it's a $200,000 house, and maybe on the HOA, the opening, say that you get it for 50, and there's a $75,000 or a $50,000 mortgage. There's still $100,000 in equity on that property. So we do bid on HOA properties as well. So, but they are a little more advanced. And remember, so today's stream is about turning 10 grand into 100 grand. And the whole name of the game is to make money, right? We want to make money. So depending on where your starting point is, you could get one property for 10 grand, sell it for 50, make 40 grand, roll it over. That's a scenario that can happen in this business. You could buy $2,000 lots, sell them for 5, sell them for 10, and work your way up. Now, another thing, sometimes people are surprised. Sometimes we'll bid up to 50% of market value. If we're at an auction, we have 100 grand with us. It's a house worth 200. We know it's in great shape. Sure, we'll buy it. We'll buy it for 100 grand. We'll cycle the money quickly. We'll buy it for 100, sell it for 140, make 40 grand, on to the next. Is a very likely scenario. So you need to really open up your mind, because these are creative solutions, right? If we want predictability, everybody can go on Zillow and pay full price for real estate, right? But that's not going to be able to leverage and be scrappy to be able to buy cheap property if we have a decent credit score and things like that. So let's see here. George is saying, have you used people from Air Tanker? It's Air Tasker or TaskRabbit are the two, to go and look at property that is being successfully. Yeah, we use that all the time. It's one of the things that we recommend. We teach, we go look, TaskRabbit or Air Tasker to go out there, and you can just set up a profile or message people and they will go look. Great questions, Heather. Appreciate everybody tuning in. Also appreciate you letting us know where you're tuning in from. We can see we got everybody. California, Texas, it's great. And we appreciate that. And if you guys like this, make sure to thumbs up, subscribe if you haven't already. Let's see, Heather, I have a business owner that is looking for a 10,000 square foot commercial space, and I convinced him to consider a tax lien property. He and his wife own multiple stories. So remember, a tax lien property, you want to probably focus on a tax deed property. So if you're in a lien state, it could be up to 3 years before you can even have a chance at foreclosing on that property. So I would stick to tax deeds. So I don't remember exactly where you are. Was it Texas? Let's see. Yeah, you said you're in Texas. Okay, great. So definitely start looking, and that could be a great way to bring people into the business and make some money. Let's see here. Yeah, do you still do Philadelphia auctions online? Yeah, so basically every single month we're either in Texas, we're in Arkansas right now, we're doing the Philly auctions. So we invite people, if you want to come join us. It is, we call it like to learn by doing. And it is a training where we give you one-on-one mentorship and things like that. And we customize the program based on what you want to do. So we have the Philly auction. It's basically 2 days where we figure out what you want to invest in, what you have set aside, and then we will pull those types of properties for you. And we will actually send somebody out to go drive the properties, to go look at them, and then we'll evaluate it all together online. So it's super cool. You can do it from home if you don't want to travel. That's the whole point of it. That's why it's called a virtual auction. So if anybody ever wants to join us on one of those, there's a link in the description below. You can schedule the free call and can have a conversation and see if it's a fit. So like I mentioned, we have the book there below this in the description is the book and the opportunity to book a free call to see if working together one-on-one is a fit. For example, back in the day, I had a mentor at my first auction, and that's what's helped me get my first piece of property, was having a mentor there with me, taking me by the hand at the first auction I ever went to. If it weren't for him really showing me kind of the ropes in person, I don't know if I would have had the confidence to pull the trigger. That made a huge difference for me. So you kind of need to figure out like, what camp are you in? Are you the type of person who can just get the free book, watch the videos, and away you go? Then that's great. That's totally awesome. You don't need to book a call. But if you're the type of person who wants some hand holding, some help, maybe somebody there to mentor and guide you, then that's what we do as well. So, that is part of our business. The transparency here is that's what we do. So you can schedule that call below. It's free, and maybe you come join us at the auction. That would be cool. Let's see here. Do you have a better chance in small counties? Yeah, you do, because there's less competition, right? There's going to be less competition in smaller counties. And a lot of the times there's going to be less access in the smaller counties, which is good, because the harder the information is to get, then the less competition there will be. And one of the phrases that I always say is like, easy to find information equals a waste of time, money, and effort, because everybody and their dog can show up and get that information. I love tax sales where they want to charge me for the list. Those ones are always good. Or some of these guys still want to send you like a disc in the mail. Those ones are really good because it's hard. There's a barrier to entry. You wouldn't believe the people like, oh, I was going to go to the tax sale, but they wanted to charge me $50 for the list. I'm like, that's great. Think of how many people complain like you and then don't get the list. So those ones are really good. So, sometimes they might even want to fax it to you, which is also good. Let's see. Looking forward. Oh, nice. You're coming in September. That is awesome. We're looking forward to having you there and helping you get some property at the Texas auction. Let's see here. Walter's in Florida. Welcome, Walter. We got a lot of Florida, a lot of East Coast, which is generally where most people are. Let's see here. Henry is saying, any suggestions on how to watch auctions if they're online, just to get a feel on how to do it? Yeah, like a lot of these auctions you can register online. Maybe you have to put in a deposit that's refundable. Also, some of these places will have like practice auctions. I think it's it's not Bid for Assets. If somebody knows, you can put it in the description. Normally I do these lives with Corey and Josh, so we really cover and move well, but there's lots of practice auctions you could go to. But what I would recommend is wherever piques your interest, whether it's your backyard or Texas or Georgia, just start to learn how the game is played there. Figure out when that auction is. If you can't attend the auction, get the list of how much things sold for in the past, and then you'll be in the game with that. But some of the auctions might want you to have a deposit to be able to watch, or you could put down a deposit and just bid $1, to be in the game, but it's refundable. It's always refundable to do that when you're bidding online. Let's see here, DC. Welcome. Good to see you here. Good gym pick. Just went for a bike ride, so feeling pretty good right now. Let's see. Heather, thank you for the comment. Yeah, Dallas is a great spot. Let's see here. How do I convince my brother we don't need a lot of cash? Just do it. We're both apprehensive. You should be apprehensive, right? That is kind of the big thing with tax liens and deeds. And to be honest, that's what keeps a lot of people out of this business. And that's a good thing, because what often happens is you hear about this stuff, you get excited, but you don't have all the details. And then you go to your brother-in-law, or I often use the brother-in-law example, to where people will come to this channel. They'll be like, oh, this is super cool, I want to get into it. And then they go talk to, I'll generally give the example of like the brother-in-law who bought their house 20 years ago. It's gone up $500,000, $600,000 in value, and they think they know real estate investing. And the biggest mistake folks make is you watch a video like this, but you don't further the education. So anybody who's smart with money will ask sophisticated questions, and then they'll pin you up against the wall with maybe a question you can't answer, or you stutter like, oh, what's the difference between a tax lien or deed? Why does the mortgage get wiped out? If this is so good, why isn't everybody doing it? You should be apprehensive. Smart people are. And this channel, one of the things when people book calls with us and things, they're like, how do I know you're the real deal? I'm like, well, we have 3,500 videos going back 10 years. We have the most comprehensive tax lien site. These are things that you just can't fake. We've been around a long time. We're not going anywhere. But you should do your research, right? Everybody here, there's other people in the tax lien and deed space. There's Ted Thomas, there's Tony Martinez, there's Sean Higgins, there's Tax Lien Code. This business has been around for 200 years. It's not going anywhere. There's money to be made doing it. And those guys, they do seminars. So they do a seminar. Normally they do seminars throughout cities, whatever. It's like a free seminar. You come, they sell you something for $1,000 or $2,000, and then you go to the 2-day thing, and then they pitch you something for $30,000 to $50,000 is the way it works. So if we don't do that, we give away. A lot of people will be like, hey, I got more information on your free stuff than I did from, paying $20,000 to XYZ person. I'm not going to trash talk, throw people under the bus. But what we do instead is we go to auctions. We bring people with us. We do small group. And if it's a fit to work together, great. We can figure out what it costs based on your goals, based on how much one-on-one help you need. So that link is below in the description. If you guys want to come join us at one of these auctions, we would love to chat with you. If it's not a fit, not a big deal. We still go live and try to give away as much possible here on the channel. Do commercial properties. Yeah, commercial properties have the same redemption rate, but be careful if you're looking at commercial properties where, if it's anything that could have like an environmental concern, like a former gas station or an auto body shop, or laundry detergent, like Walter White there in Breaking Bad. So anything where there could be stuff like seeping into the ground, you want to really research that and be careful. Let's see. How do we buy the book, not the digital one? So right now, guys, it's just the digital format. We used to ship it. Right now, it's free. So the best thing you could do is print it or download it and print it out. But to make it free, we just put it in the PDF. We may bring it back one day, but for now, you just have to print it out. The funny thing is we've actually seen people at seminars now, they're like basically ripping off this book and putting it in their handouts, and literally has our name in it. But that's pretty funny. I guess, what do they say? Flattery is when you get copied. Let's see. Have $10,000. Florida is expensive. Do you invest? Let's see. Do you recommend out-of-state investing? Yeah. Remember, check out the auctions in Florida first, see what's going on. And then from there, you can research other places, Texas, Arkansas. You can look at Georgia, Washington. If you know somebody or anywhere you're interested in, maybe Philly. For example, here, let's see, in New Jersey and Philly, virtual training is, online. So for this, the Philly auction is virtual, right? So it's 100% virtual. You bid online, you do all of that sort of stuff, and we walk you through it. So if you are wanting to join us in Philly to get started and join us at the virtual auction coming up, just go in the description below and you can click the link and schedule a free call. We'll talk to you. figure out what your goals are, and then you can come join us at the Philly auction. It's super cool. We kind of get together like this, except we're attending an in-person virtual auction together. And, for example, for everybody that would be here, we would talk to you one-on-one, figure out what your budget is, and then pull properties based on that. We send somebody to go look at them, and then we look at the properties, we brainstorm, and just do it all together in a small group, which is something that's cool. We used to do seminars and stuff, and nobody ever makes money at a seminar. And we've actually had on these auction trips, students flip properties on the trip. So that's pretty cool. It's definitely happened before, and that's very fun. So that's kind of a thing that we're very proud of, is the fact that we've actually had people come on our trips, flip property, and make money. Now, is it every trip? No, but it's a pretty cool thing that has happened. Michael Jordan, how much cash to start with? We have a few bucks. Imagine Michael Jordan's got some cash sitting around, depending on which Michael Jordan. But from there, once again, if you have a couple grand, you can get into some properties. Or if you have a decent credit score, like 650 plus, you can get a lot of like financing options to help you. Like we work with lenders that provide good financing options if you have a credit score of like 650. So we do utilize that. So for folks that are wanting to get into this, maybe you don't have a lot of cash set aside, but you have a credit score of like 650 plus, we can definitely help you in the game, as we have many providers that we work with to help people get started. So you can schedule a call and we can chat more about that as well. So as far as starting cash, this is what's really crazy about this industry is, any budget can get you started. So if you have less budget, you're going to have to put in more elbow grease. More budget, which means you'll be able to go quicker in this, right? So, the premise to turn 100 or 10 grand into 100 grand was the name of the game here today. And there's plenty of options to do that through tax deed investing. George is saying, I'm looking to get into deeds to be able to retire from working. Looking to get into this sooner than later. Yeah. And, sooner than later is the name of the game. I think I mentioned before, I keep this hourglass on my desk, and every day I flip it over and I watch it drain, because we all have one of these. And, I always love giving this example here, is like, we all have one of these just over our head, just like this, right? Where, my example, like everybody has one of these just like looming over their head at any given time. And we don't know how much sand is in this thing. And we don't know when it ends. Like one day you're going to open it and it's going to be empty. It could be, it could be next week. It could be in 20 years. It could be in 40 years. We don't know. So that's why every morning when I sit down at my desk, I start my day with this and I just watch it drain, because I don't know how many more of these things that I have left. And it's very like, oh shoot, I better take action. And that's the key thing I want to leave everybody with here is, yeah, it's fun. It's fun to watch these videos. It's fun to ask questions, but it's really just a waste of time unless you take action. There's this weird thing where we feel good about watching content, but if you're not executing, you're not going to get there. And the longer you put it off, the harder it's going to get, because we're now also using AI to scoop up a lot of these properties so quick. Like what used to take days and weeks can be done now in like minutes with taking action with AI. So, like the sands through the hourglass, so are the days of our lives. So that should entice you. Everybody here tomorrow should at least call your local county tax deed office and find out when the auction is. There's auctions in Michigan. From here, if you guys want to save some time and join us at an auction or get some one-on-one help, there's a link below in the description, and you can book a one-on-one call. You could maybe come with us to Texas in person. You could maybe join us at a live online auction as well. We do help build custom AIs to do this. We really have a lot of things up our sleeve to dominate this business. And, like I mentioned, that's our goal, to provide the most value and the best training that is out there. Is there AI? Yeah, absolutely. We use it. So we will show that maybe tomorrow. We'll go live and do some AI. So if you guys like this, do me a favor, hit the thumbs up, subscribe if you like it. And then after this, you can check out more videos or go get the books in the description below or schedule your call. Would love to chat with you, maybe see you on one of these auction trips. It's been super fun. I really appreciate everybody who hopped on with us today. If you're watching the replay, super cool. Once again, Daniel, Tony, Jay, thanks for hopping on. Michael, George, appreciate everybody. SP, Edward, all of you guys. Thomas, Ron, thanks for taking the time. No, really appreciate everybody just coming on. I never thought I'd be, never thought I'd be a YouTuber, and it's pretty fascinating. It's pretty cool. Let's see. Michael's saying here, please explain. Yeah, followed for a while. Please explain to my brother the $100,000 concept. Okay, so we've been going for the last hour, but long story short, you could rewind and start from the beginning and watch several examples, but you want to start with the cheap tax deeds and start flipping your way. So if it's a 50K property, sometimes you could get them for 5 to 10K, sell it for 30, 40, 50,000 bucks, take that money, buy 3 or 4 more, and use the velocity as fast as possible. Now, we've been going for an hour. I explained a lot more different concepts, but start at the beginning and then follow along and then just read the book. That's another thing to do, is just read the book and it'll walk you through it. So that's the best way. Or go to the channel, sort the videos by views, and you'll be in good shape. What's the best way to contact me is in the description below. You can just schedule a call, and that's the best way to contact us. And once again, thank you for coming on. Sadua, thank you for hopping on. It's been great to spend some time with you guys here tonight. And come on, we'll see you on the next one. We'll be doing more live streams. So, all right, everybody. See you soon. Thanks.